Imagine if all the money in the world suddenly turned into actual physical banknotes. The pile would cover the entire United States, 3 feet deep. But here's the thing that'll blow your mind. Most money doesn't actually exist. Let me explain, and trust me, this gets wild. You'd think counting all the money on Earth would be simple. Just add up all the dollars, right? Wrong, dead wrong. Money is weird. It exists in layers like an onion made of capitalism. The first layer is cash, physical money you can touch, bills and coins. There's about $8 to $9 trillion of this stuff globally. That sounds like a lot, it's not. $8.28 trillion exists as actual physical currency, paper and metal. The boring stuff in your wallet that's probably empty right now. The US has $2.3 trillion in physical cash. Here's the fun part. Half of all US dollars are actually outside America. Drug cartels, foreign banks, that one Swiss vault in every movie. Just sitting there. Physical cash is called M0 by economists, which stands for money zero or possibly money. Because even they know it's getting confusing. Nobody really uses cash anymore anyway. Your grandma does. That's about it. But this gets bigger, and I mean way bigger. M1 is M0 plus checking accounts. Money you can access immediately. Need to buy something right now? That's M1. Global M1 hit $48.9 trillion in late 2022. That's about 6 times more than physical cash. See what happened? We added checking accounts and money multiplied by 6. Like magic, except it's math and banks. This is where things get weird and honestly kind of unsettling. Because M2 includes everything in M1, plus savings accounts, money market funds, and those CDs your parents won't shut up about. Global M2 reached $96 trillion in 2025. So let's recap because this is important. Physical cash, 8 trillion accessible money, 49 trillion broad money, 96 trillion. We went from 8 to 96 trillion without printing a single extra dollar bill. How? This is the part that should terrify you. Banks don't actually have your money. When you deposit $100, the bank keeps maybe $10 and lends out $90. That $90 gets deposited somewhere else. That bank keeps $9 and lends out $81. And so on, forever. Your $100 just became $200, then $300, then more. It's multiplying like a virus, except it's money and somehow completely legal. This is fractional reserve banking, which is just a fancy term for legal counterfeiting. This is why M2 is so much bigger than M0. Most money is just promises. IOUs in a computer, digital handshakes, the actual cash backing it all. That 8 trillion we started with. That's it. But wait, there's more. And this is where your brain might actually break. Total global wealth is $471 trillion in 2024. Hold on, wait, stop. We just said M2 was 96 trillion. Where did the extra 375 trillion come from? Houses, stocks. Your dad's classic car he swears is an investment, but definitely isn't. Gold. Art? That Bitcoin your cousin won't stop talking about at every family gathering. Wealth and money are different things. Money is liquid. You can spend it today. Wealth is everything valuable, whether you can spend it or not. Your house is worth $500,000. You don't have $500,000. See the difference? This matters because when we talk about how rich people are, we're mixing up wealth and money. And that makes inequality look less insane than it actually is. There are 3,028 billionaires on Earth with a combined $16.1 trillion. That's trillion. With a T. Let that sink in. The US alone has 902 billionaires holding $7.6 trillion. That's more billionaires than Michelin-starred restaurants, which is a weird comparison but puts things in perspective. 4 people have over $200 billion each. Elon Musk, Mark Zuckerberg, Jeff Bezos, and Larry Ellison. 4 guys. $200 billion each. That's more money than most countries have. Meanwhile, the poorest 50% of humanity, 3.9 billion people, own about 2% of global wealth. Let that sink in. Half of everyone owns 2%. 4 dudes own more than 3 billion people combined. This isn't just unfair, it's absurd. It's cartoonishly unequal. The average American has assets worth about $620,000. Sounds great until you realize that includes your house, your car, your 401k you can't touch until you're old, and that Xbox collecting dust in your living room. Median wealth tells a different story, and it's not pretty. That's the middle point where half of people have more, half have less. In the US, median wealth is way lower than average. That's because averages get absolutely destroyed when Elon Musk is in the dataset. Thanks, Elon. If you divide M2 money by everyone on Earth, each person would have about $2,597. That's it. That's the actual liquid money per person. Most of that 471 trillion in wealth, it's locked up in stuff you can't easily spend. It's trapped. Governments don't exactly have money the way you and I do either. Central banks hold reserves. The US Federal Reserve maintains about 3.5 trillion in reserve balances. That's their emergency fund, basically. Their oh crap money. Then there's debt. Oh boy, debt. This is depressing. Global debt hit $251 trillion in 2024. That's governments, companies, and people owing money to other people. It's a web of obligations that nobody can escape. Debt isn't money. It's negative money. Anti-money. The opposite of having money. It's the shadow in your bank account that keeps you up at night. Some governments have sovereign wealth funds, though. Norway has one worth over $1 trillion because they sold a lot of oil and actually saved it like responsible adults, unlike literally everyone else who spent it immediately. And then there's cryptocurrency, which is its own bizarre universe. The total crypto market hit about $3 trillion in 2025. Bitcoin, Ethereum, Dogecoin, because the internet has no chill and thought a meme should be worth billions. Here's the thing. Crypto isn't counted in M0, M1, or M2. It exists outside the traditional system, floating in its own digital void. Central banks pretend it doesn't exist or panic about it, depending on the day and who's in charge. Some governments are making their own crypto. China already has a digital yuan. It's like Bitcoin, except the government controls everything. So, not like Bitcoin at all, actually. It's the opposite of what Bitcoin was supposed to be. Sometimes you'll hear people say there's over $1 quadrillion in the financial system, and you might think we've all lost our minds. They're talking about derivatives. These are contracts based on other assets. Bets on bets on bets. Financial inception. The notional value of derivatives is massive, but notional value is fake. It's theatrical. It's the theoretical value if every contract was executed at once, which will never happen because the entire economy would explode and we'd all be bartering chickens again. Actual money changing hands in derivatives? Much smaller, thankfully. It's like saying, I bet you $10 billion the sun will rise tomorrow. The bet is technically worth $10 billion, but nobody's actually paying $10 billion because the sun will obviously rise and the bet was stupid to begin with. Meanwhile, all this wealth keeps growing, and it's honestly getting ridiculous. Global wealth grew 4.6% in 2024. Billionaire wealth? It grew 121% over the past decade. Your salary growth? Not 121%. Not even close. The top 20 billionaires alone added $700 billion in 1 year. That's billion. Per year. For 20 people. While you're excited about a 3% raise. Meanwhile, most people are arguing about gas prices going up 30 cents. The scale is broken. The system is broken. The first trillionaire will probably exist within a decade, which is somehow more money than your brain can actually process. It's an amount so large it stops meaning anything. Remember when I said most money doesn't exist? This is the part that should genuinely freak you out. Of the 96 trillion in M2, only 8 trillion is physical. The rest is data. Numbers in computer systems. Electrical signals bouncing between servers. Your bank account is literally ones and zeros on a hard drive somewhere. You can't withdraw $96 trillion because 88 trillion of it isn't real in a physical sense. It's real in a we all agree it's real sense. Money is a collective hallucination we all participate in. And somehow, despite how insane that sounds, it works. Most of the time. Unless it doesn't, like in 2008 when everyone suddenly remembered that maybe infinite housing prices weren't sustainable. Cash is dying, by the way. Sweden barely uses it anymore. China is going digital. Even drug dealers probably use Venmo now, though I can't confirm that. Over the next 20 to 25 years, $83 trillion will transfer between generations. Baby boomers are handing wealth to millennials who will immediately spend it on avocado toast. I'm kidding. Mostly. Central bank digital currencies are coming. It's like cash, but trackable. Privacy advocates are thrilled. I'm sure definitely no concerns there. The concentration of wealth will probably get worse before it gets better. Tech companies are minting billionaires faster than ever. AI will make this trend even more ridiculous. We're headed toward a future where a handful of people control more wealth than entire continents. So let's recap, because this matters. Physical cash, $8 trillion. Broad money supply, $96 trillion. Total global wealth, $471 trillion. Billionaire wealth, $16 trillion. Your net worth, we don't talk about that. Most money is digital. Most wealth is locked in assets. Most people have way less than average because a few people have absurd, disgusting, unimaginable amounts. Money is weird. It multiplies through banking magic. It exists mostly as data, and somehow the entire global economy runs on collective trust that these numbers mean something. which they do, until they don't. And when they don't, we all find out together.